Good morning. It's election day, and I'm here to bring you some news about are there active candidates even running for the Libertarian Party? Why, yes, there are. Are there actively elected libertarians right now? Again, yes, there are. And I'm going to bring that information to you. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So we're back, and I want to thank you. Getting one last thing ready that I didn't have ready. So I apologize for that, folks. Let's see, where is it? Oh my goodness. Things are not working the way that they're supposed to this morning, but that's okay. The show must go on and it will. I am going to be talking about some candidates today, not necessarily in specific, but I want to give you some details. I actually find it very interesting to go and dig up and see what I can find. So, what I do, I go to lp.org, and actually, let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen just so that you can see how you can find the latest candidates. So let's go ahead and share that screen. And here we are. All right, perfect. All right, let's bring it up right there. Okay, so this is the Libertarian Party's homepage, lp.org. And then if you go over to take action and under elections, you'll see that there are four options. There's one that says candidates. That's our current candidate list. Then you have elected officials. That's where you can click and see who's actually elected and where. Then you can click on run for office or ballot access if you're interested in those things. We're not going to be talking about those today. We just want to talk about candidates. So if you click over on candidates, and what happens is you have like a nice little list here as soon as it pops up. All right, so we got a list. And so then you can narrow it down. You can search by a name or you can search by office, the office level. So they have them whether they're what is it a federal, like a senate, a U.S. senator? Is it statewide, like a governor? Is it a state legislature, like the House or the Senate for the state? The county level or the local level. Sometimes like here in Jacksonville, we have it would be the county level for the, no, 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 it would be local. It would be, well, Jacksonville's kind of weird in the way that we're set up. But at any rate, so you have different townships and you have mayor and you have city council and then you have other things, like sheriff and whatnot. So you have all these different, and so you could search for them by the office level. You can also search by state and then by the county if you really want to narrow it down. And then you can just scroll down and look at all the uh, icons of the torch flag, the eagle, the torch eagle. Gonna have to work on that, folks. We need some pictures up here. Like, where's the pictures? Come on, Libertarian Party, get your stuff together. All right. So, but anyway, you can go down here and click on them. And then you can see also it will show you the state that they're running in. It will show you the seat that they're running. So you've got like State House 122 for Bryce Phillips up here. And then you've got Brittany Cosin for supervisor for Warwick Township. And then that's in Pennsylvania. And then it actually has the date that that the election is being held. And so you can go down here and see all the different names. Now, there are other places that you can find this information as well. This is from my understanding, this is going to be your best bet to find all of them. Okay. Because these are all the libertarian candidates that are running. Now, there is criteria. I don't think they've listed it here, but there is criteria to run. I believe part of it is if it's a partisan race, you have to be a registered libertarian. If it's a nonpartisan race, excuse me, then I think you still have to be a libertarian, but I'm not really sure if the Libertarian Party specifies that you have to be active, at least for this page. Okay. So we're just talking about those who are actively running presently for this particular page. Now, for the actual elected candidates, we'll go back to that. Let's see, where are we here? Elections and elected officials. They do list their criteria here. So here's the page, elected officials. Nationwide, there are over 300 libertarians holding elected office. Bet you didn't know that, did you? 300. Um, General criteria. So here's what they've got. And zoom in on this a little bit. For partisan offices, the elected official must have appeared on the ballot with the party designation Libertarian, or the elected official must currently be registered to vote as a libertarian. The reason for this or is because I believe in some states there's some weirdness as far as ballot access and whether or not you can be a libertarian or whatnot. So this just makes sure that if you actively ran as a libertarian, in other words, you were listed as libertarian on the ballot, or you're at least registered to vote as a libertarian, then you are considered an elected libertarian. Then for nonpartisan offices, nonpartisan meaning that when you go to the ballot, they don't have the party affiliation next to them. The elected official must be a current dues paying member of the Libertarian Party, or the elected official must currently be registered to vote as a libertarian. So I'm not terribly familiar with all of the ballot access limitations and things to consider in all the different states, but I believe what this does is it narrows it down and ensures that if our party says this person is an elected official, that they are actually an elected libertarian, and that they either ran as a libertarian or people had some knowledge that they were libertarian, not somebody that just is like, they got elected and they're kind of libertarian or they're libertarian leaning. Nope. We want it to be legitimate. So that's how they narrow that down. Then this one has fewer options, but you can select by the election year. And so you can actually look for those who are elected this year, those who have been elected in the last 2 years, and those who have been elected in the last 3 years. And then you can also search by office level and then by name. And then they have some great information here. They have the elected official's name, the office that they hold. So you can see that we've got like treasurers. I'm not sure what lower loop NRD subdistrict 8 exactly is. But then we've got a township auditor, several of them actually in Pennsylvania. Inspector of elections, that's a good one. Let's see, city council, council constable, auditor again, soil and water, city council, quite a few city councils here. Mayor, we actually got a couple mayors. So interesting stuff here. Then you can look and you can search by the state. And then you can also look and say, all right, when does their term start and when does it end? So we've got people that are serving through 2027, it looks like. Um, and then we've got election date, the day that they were elected, and then the office level, whether it was local or what have you. Most of these are going to be pretty local. I think there's a few counties in there as well. So that's the information that you can get. Now, I went through the trouble of going through both of these pages that I just showed you, and I compiled the information to make it a little more visual. 'Cause I wanted to kind of, and I got some numbers, okay? Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about the candidates that are active and the people and those who have been elected. So let's pull up some of that information. We're going to start with the active libertarian campaigns. These are the ones that are active. All right, there we are. And what we have, and I'm going to move some of my screens a little bit here. Just move these around. Give me a second here. Adjust this a little bit better so I can see things more better. Look at that. I got my logo on there twice. Let me just take that off. That looks a little redundant. That's just crazy. Okay, perfect. All right. So these are the active libertarian campaigns that we have. We have them currently in 6 states. So we have Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Now you might be wondering, like, okay, well, like this is 2023. So these are active libertarian campaigns that are on the ballot today. Now I think there was like a couple of them that are already running that are going to be on the ballot next year. But for the ones that are on the ballot today, those are represented in these 6 states. Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. So, and I'm moving some data around here so that I can get some ideas on, because what I want to do is I want to show you, I want to tell you the counts that we have, because I actually counted them. Well, I didn't personally count them. I just collected all the information and I let the computer do all the work for me. So, leading the pack by a long shot over here is, well, you guys can't see my mouse. Over here is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has currently 35 active campaigns. There are 35 people on the ballot that are that people can vote for today. And they don't have any for 2024. In fact, Arizona is the only one that has candidates for 2024 that I saw listed. But Pennsylvania right now has the most 35 candidates on the ballot. I don't know what's in the water up there, but they're doing something crazy because they got quite a few elected ones as well. But they've got 35 people. The next up, this kind of surprised me. I was not expecting this. Mississippi. Mississippi has 19 people on the ballot today. And then following behind them, Indiana, who has 12, and then Colorado with 6, and then Arizona with 4, and Virginia with 4, for a grand total. And I don't have a number to put up on the screen for you, but I'll just tell you, for a grand total of 80 people, 80 libertarians are on the ballot today, November 7th, 2023. So I think that's pretty exciting. And now that may not sound like a lot, but remember, this is 2023. This is not a midterm year. That would have been last year. And I've got some information for that. So it's like I don't know if there's a particular term for it, but it's not a midterm year because that would have been last year. So it's like the midterm. There's probably a real term for it, and I don't know. If you do know, go ahead and throw it in the comments and educate me, because there's no reason for me not to learn something new. So that's what we have for active libertarian campaigns. And I want to wish them well today. Good luck. Hope that you win. And if you don't win, I hope you put a dent in your opponents, right? I hope that you get so many that at least you get reported on. That's awesome. So, all right, let's move on to the elected officials. So there we go. All right. Elected libertarians. All right. So elected libertarians, now we have quite a few more states, as you can see. So these are states where there are libertarians elected according to the criteria that was set forward by the Libertarian Party. And that criteria, one more time, was for partisan offices, the elected official must have appeared on the ballot with the party designation libertarian, or the elected official must be currently registered to vote as a libertarian. And then for nonpartisan offices, the elected official must be a current dues paying member of the Libertarian Party, or they must currently be registered to vote as a libertarian. So these are legitimate libertarians that are elected. Grand total for all of them is, I don't have my numbers ready yet. There it is, 163. Now, I want to qualify this a little bit because the parties page said that there were over 300. So the data that I pulled was for the election years 21, 22, and 23. So that means these are people that were elected in either 2021, 2022, 2023. And we'll break that down in just a moment. Okay. In fact, let's just do it right now. So for 2021, 21 people were elected. Now, again, that's not a midterm year. That's not a general election year. That's not a presidential election year. That's just 2021. That was like the day, the week, the year after. So 21 people from the Libertarian Party were elected in 2021. In 2022, 120. Okay. Now we're going to show some numbers on how many ran. And then in 2023, so far, 22 people have been elected. They were elected earlier in the year at various elections that happened. So there's a grand total again of 163. So let's take a look and see what the breakdown is on some of these, and we're just going to kind of go through them fairly quickly. Again, leading the pack, Pennsylvania. So I want to know what's in the water up there. What are y'all doing? Because you have 35 candidates running today that are on the ballot, and then they have 108. 108 people were elected um, somewhere between 2021 and this year so far. I don't have the further breakdown of how many of that 108 were, elected this year or last year or 2021. I just have the total number. So 108 people were elected to office according to the Libertarian Party's website. So, like if this information is incorrect, then my bad. And let's see here. Oh goodness. You know what? It looks like I might have made a mistake. I'm going to address that in just a moment, folks. No, you know what? Let's address that now. Let's see what we got. So Brian Fleming says there's one in Florida that I personally know, and he's correct. I believe that would be Jim Turney. And why that information did not come up, I don't know. That's very interesting. So let's see here. Let's just see if we can't do a quick. Yeah. So, you know what? Oh, I see why. Okay. So I see why I think it looks like they have the website that list his election date is November 3rd, 2020. So that's why Florida did not come up in this because apparently his election date was on November 3rd. His term started in 2022 and goes through 2023. So so that's why Florida is not on the list. And then Brian Fleming says, and myself. Okay, so Brian, I can do this. I can say the words. Brian Fleming is also elected. You would think that I would know that, but in fairness to me, there are quite a few libertarians here in Florida, and sometimes it's a little hard to keep up with everything that's going on. I don't know why it's not listed on their site. Um, let's see here. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm going to take a quick look. Okay, so it's not showing up. So clearly, we've got some reconciliation with data to do between the state and the national party. Okay, fair enough. Let's continue on. I know there's probably others. And if you're watching and you're like, hey, my state's not on there and I'm elected, feel free to drop it in the comments, and if I see it while I'm doing the show, well, then I'll mention it. I'll give you a great big shout out. But otherwise, I do apologize. I apologize if the information is not 100% accurate, but I believe that this is pretty close. I think we're pretty on spot here. All right. So Pennsylvania has 108 out of, remember, 100 and what do we say, 64, 163. 163, 164 now since we have Brian, and then 165 since we've got Jim Turney. So out of about 165 people that are elected currently that are sitting in office, Pennsylvania has 108 of them. So the other states, we need to figure out what they're doing and probably replicate that. That's probably what we need to do. So let's move on. Let's quit boasting about Pennsylvania. They're not even my state. All right. Illinois has nine people that are elected in Illinois. Indiana and Kentucky both have 7 elected officials each. Nebraska has 5. Massachusetts has 4. Iowa with 3. And then we've got California, Colorado, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Ohio, and Washington, all with 2 elected officials each. And then down at 1, we've got Alaska, Arizona, Kansas, Mississippi, New York, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and West Virginia. All right, so that's what we've got. So you can see that we're kind of all over the place, folks, and that's good. Now I don't know what's happening with the with the other states. I don't know if they, like I can't speak to that. I can only speak to the information that I have here, but we can look at what happened in 2022. And I was actually trying to pull that up. So I think I can do it. It was just being a little bit of the graphic was being uncooperative for some silly reason. So let's see if I can get this graphic up on the screen. And this will show you what we had in 2022 for candidates that were running. Okay, perfect. So there that is. So let's move a few things around and we are going to go back to this. And then as we're doing that, we are going to share this screen and voila. There we are, folks. All right. So in 2022, now that's you might recognize that fella that's to the like right here, this guy right here. That's this guy, same guy. So this is a screenshot from one of my episodes back in 2022 where I was covering candidates that were running. And what you're going to notice is at the top, we had 673 candidates run in 2022. Now, that you might remember the number of candidates that were elected, at least according to the LP's website, was 120. So roughly about a sixth of them. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's just a number because I have no reference. Okay. Whenever somebody wants to say that's not very many, that's not, that's a lot compared to what? Right. Like I don't have any comparison. Like I can compare that there were 120 who got elected out of 673 who ran, but again, remember, we're a third party. We have a very difficult time with ballot access. Sometimes it's very difficult to get our way, to edge our way. Hey, buddy, what's up? To edge our way in between the Republicans and the Democrats. So it is no small feat to get 120 people elected, in my opinion. But whether or not that is good or bad, obviously, it would have been way better if we got all 673 elected. But that's just not going to be the case. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. So I don't have a comparison for that. Going forward, as I continue to do the show, I will actually be able to have these comparison numbers because I'll be able to look and say, okay, well, in 2022, we did this. And then if we look 4 years later in 2026, then, this is what we did. And then I can start making some comparisons. But for now, this is what we've got. Now, you're also going to notice that I broke the United States up into 4 regions. And I did that just because each region I dedicated one episode to make it a little easier on me. And then you're going to notice that there's a whole bunch of numbers all over the screen. You're like, what in the heck do all these numbers mean? Well, again, because I had no reference to work with, I was trying to make my own references. So the larger number that's on the left in black, where there's two numbers separated by a slash, the larger number on the left, that represents the delegate count for that region. And then in each episode, I further broke it down by state. So you can look up in the Northeast here in the blue, and you can see that there's 198 delegates. So at our national convention in 2022, is that right? Yeah, 2022. We had, no, I'm sorry, I take it back. I did delegate counts for 2020. So these are delegate counts for 2020. And in 2020, there were 198 allotted delegates, not necessarily seated for anybody that's a party insider, but just the count, the total count of what was available. So there was 198 delegate slots available in 2020. And then in 2022, just as a kind of a comparison, we had 60 people running for office in the Northeast area. Then you've got the Southern area with 334, 272 people ran for office. And then up in kind of like the Midwest, you've got 239 delegate slots with 165 candidates that ran for office in 2022. And then over on the West, 282 and 136. And I did this just to kind of give some sort of comparison, like, okay, how many delegates are we allotted? And then how does that, what does that kind of translate into in terms of candidates? Now, the reason that I did that is because delegate counts are determined by party membership. Now, you could argue, I mean, whenever there's numbers, you can always argue and say, well, you should have included this, should have excluded this, should have controlled for this, yada, yada, yada. This is what I did. I needed something to work with to kind of give some frame of reference to kind of look at. Now, when I do this again in say 2024 next year, or when I do it again in say, in the future, I may choose to use different numbers as I go along and I acquire more information. But for now, this is what I had to work with. So, um, in so again, we're looking at 120 people were elected out of the 673 that ran. Good or bad, I have no idea. This year we have a total of, again, 80 people that are running. We'll look back in the future, and we'll say, all right, well, how many people were elected? So I think this is just, what I'm trying to do here, folks, is just give people an idea of, what's the Libertarian Party got out there. And I get it. We're small. You might say we're ineffective. We can't get elected to office. Well, that's not true. We have over 300 people in the United States that are elected to office right now. Right now, we have over 300. We have 80 people running right now. And if all the other 49 states could do what Pennsylvania is doing, then we would have a whole lot more. So hopefully they're doing something that can be replicated by the other states, and hopefully the other states take notice. But I think we're moving along. I think we're doing pretty well, and and I'm not unhappy with these results. I'm happy to report these, and I think you should be happy because we need. That doesn't mean we be. That doesn't mean we rest on our laurels. All that means is we're like, that's good. I like that. Now, what can we do? How can we do that better? How can we improve? How do we get more? That's always the big question. So remember, folks, and I want to pull this back up on the screen one more time. Let's see here. So I'm going to share this. All right. So again, if you're looking for information, you can go to the LP's website. This is going to be a shorter broadcast, just because there's not a whole lot to talk about. But you can go here and you can find out who the elected officials are, or you can go and probably should have had these in different, but anyway, or you can go and see who is running. And here, let me point this out. If you are running, you should absolutely go to my.lp.org/candidates and double check to make sure that your name's there. If your name isn't there, you need to figure out how to get it there. Talk to your state party, reach out to the LNC themselves. There's a form that you can fill out, but make sure you get your information out here. And then, come on, people, get some pictures. Come on. I know y'all not that ugly, right? Like if I can be on camera, y'all can be in a picture. So, but go check out this. Now, I want to point out a couple of other resources here. We have two major caucuses in the party, and they also have candidates that they endorse. Now, if you're not a party insider and you're not terribly familiar with the caucuses, basically a caucus is an organization within a group that has kind of like a vision or direction that they want to go. And so they just try to rally their members and then push to get the things that they're interested in bubble up to the top. Okay, that's basically a nice, easy summary. It can get a little bit more nasty than that, and there's a lot that's sometimes is where the infighting comes from. But we're setting that aside for right now because we're just talking about candidates. And at the end of the day, there are some candidates that I believe are supported by both caucuses. Mostly, though, they kind of select their own. So let's pull up the Mises caucus first, and let's see. This is their website. So you can go to, I'm going to bring this over here so I can actually read it, but you can go over here and you can see who they have endorsed. So they've got their 2023 list of candidates. And I'm telling you, I'm going to have to get one of you about this whole top bar that's taking up most of the screen. Goodness gracious. Anyway, so you have a map here. And so all the yellow represents states where they have candidates that they are supporting. So if you were to click on a state, let's say we click on Colorado, and I click on Colorado, and it says, these are the Libertarian candidates that we are supporting with Mises PAC endorsements. And I believe, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe endorsements come with maybe some money. I'm not entirely certain. So, and then you can scroll down, you can see, so we've got Jessica Fensky, I think that's how I say her name, Merle Hendrickson, both of them are running for city council in Arvada, Colorado. Then we also have Jacob Luria, who's running for city council district 1 in Golden, Colorado. So they've got their 3 people and they've got like a nice little graphic. And then sometimes you'll see these on social media where they'll take the graphic and they'll post it and they'll say, hey, this person's running, so on and so forth. So you can go to the lpmisescaucus.com and you can see who they are endorsing specifically. And they have a nice little map. And then they also have this header that covers over most of the, a good portion of the web page. So hopefully somebody from the Mises Caucus is listening and they're not going to be too mad at me for griping about it, but it is interfering with me being able to, like, like, look at this. I can't even see the whole map on the page. Anyway, I'm gonna stop griping about it. Then we go over to the classical liberal caucus, who I have quarreled with a few times. But again, we're setting aside that because at the end of the day, if the party is about candidates, as a lot of people say they are, then you need to learn to put aside your grievances and work to get candidates elected. All right. So now we're over here. We're looking at their endorsed candidates that they have. Their website is a little bit less attractive in some ways, but it's a little easier to navigate because I can scroll and I can see all the pictures right away of people that are running for office. So here are their endorsed candidates for 2023. So they've got like Joshua Huffman, Virginia State Senate. So that's a state level. Brittany Cosin, Warwick Township Supervisor. Elijah Mack for the, I think it's California State Assemblyman. I believe it's CA, California. So you can scroll down, you can look and see. Okay, I don't know what happened there. And then it breaks it up and it says, okay, here are the ones from 2022. And then they go down the line. And then I think, does it stop there? I think it just goes down. Okay, so they don't have a clickable map. And then it gets into, and they have, okay, so my gripe here, would you guys have like very long, wordy things? You need to collapse those. So at any rate, all the griping aside, good work to both the Mises Caucus and the Classical Liberal Caucus on at least getting this information up on their website so that people can come and check out who they're endorsing, which also means these are active candidates that are running. So again, for everybody that's running in 2023 that is on the ballot for today, which I believe is going to be, this should be the last election for the year, but I can't quite guarantee that. But for everybody that's running, whether you're endorsed by the Mises Caucus, the Classical Liberal Caucus, neither caucus, both caucuses, whatever. If you're a libertarian candidate that's on the ballot today, good luck to you. I hope that you win. And if you're a candidate and you're watching, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, was my name on their website? Go check. Make sure that if you're a candidate, make sure spread the word. Make sure that if nothing else, you stand on whoever's neck needs stood on to get your name listed on these websites. Because if I go there, somebody else might be going there. And it's good to get the word out. It's good to let people know that we have all these candidates that are running for office. I mean, before you saw the show, could you say that there were over 300 elected libertarians in the United States? Could you say that there were 80 people running for office on the ballot today? Could you say that there were 163 people that were elected between 2021 and 2023 thus far? Probably not. So this is the kind of information that we need to be able to get out there and let people know. Because if you're a party, when you're tabling, this information is good to have. Create graphics. Let people know. Because I don't know about you, but I have been to events where I've talked to people and they're like, well, do libertarians ever get elected? And I don't have the information at my fingertips, but this is the information at your fingertips. So utilize it, create graphics, take it with you to the next tabling event that you do, promote this information. Let people know there is a third party. I see news stories all the time. Americans are ready for a third party. And then people are like, wow, I wish there was a third party. And then, like, hello, we're right here. Libertarian Party, we're right here. And we have some elected officials, believe it or not, all the way up to the state level. Now, it gets a little harder when we start getting into Congress, but we're still working. We're still pushing. So we need to let people know, get the word out. Beyond that, that's my show for today, folks. I hope that you found it interesting. I gotta go. My buddy, like, he wants to play. Like, like, what's a dad to do, right? Like, your buddy wants to play. You're like, well, I guess we're gonna play. Looks like we're gonna play some Legos. So anyway, thank you for watching, folks. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you getting up so early to tune in. I hope this information, you found it valuable, and I hope you use it. And I hope that you work with your state party to keep things moving, not only with candidates, but also with the information. Okay. And I'm going to mention something else really, really quickly. Sunday night, I do my episode where I talk about the events that are happening in the Libertarian Party. And I just go out to all, like literally, I did this. I went to lp.org. I went to their affiliate, nice little map, clickable. I clicked on every single state, all 50 of them in Washington, D.C. I clicked on all 50 states, and I went to their website and I clicked on events and I scoured them for events, every single one of them. And a lot of y'all states don't have any events. I don't know if that means you don't have any events like to report, or if you're just not keeping things up to date. But keep things up to date, because people like me are trying to go to the website to pull this information and show people what is going on. And I know for a fact that people have come to our affiliate website. This is supposed to be my closing, but whatever. I know for a fact that people have went to my affiliate website here in Jacksonville to look and see what we are doing. So people are going out there. They are pulling up your website. They are checking it out. So make sure that it's up to date. Okay, now I promise to do the closing. So, but again, thank you for watching, folks. Um, it's been great to put all this information together. I hope you found it useful. Good luck to all the candidates that are running today. If you're following me on social media, mostly Liberty Dad Pod on Twitter, I'm going to be doing my best to try to promote any candidates that have won their election today. I don't know that I'll be able to catch them all, but if you're watching and you're a candidate and you win, definitely let me know. I'm going to be reposting that information. Get that word out there and congratulate you. So Liberty Dad Pod on Twitter, or X now, formerly known as Twitter. So follow me there. You can also follow me on Liberty Dad on Facebook. Not as active on there, but that's okay. And then by all means, go to youtube.libertydad.com or rumble.libertydad.com and do all the normal user interactions, like my videos, promote the videos, leave a comment. I try to respond to comments sometimes during the show, sometimes after the fact, but I do at least try to read through them. So give me a follow. The more followers I get, the more things move with this show, and the more that I can do, and the more motivated I get to do these kind of things. Because sometimes it's a lot of work, and if you're engaging with me, that tells me keep doing it, do more. So let me know what you think. But otherwise, if you are a champion of liberty, your business is liberty. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I can't remember my own slogan, but that's okay. Folks, have a great week. Catch you tomorrow. But for today, I am